Lucky Boys Podcast.
The crazy thing about this is that the symptoms aren't really present right away. You know, you yourself don't even know you have it if you do have it.
That is so scary.
Right?
The incubation period.
Incubation period takes about 5 days to maybe about 2 weeks. It can live in you before you start showing signs. I mean, that's what the first case in the U.S. It was an article written in the New England Journal of Medicine documented this case report, and it was in Washington State. The guy had some travels out in China, and he came back. He really just had some sore throat, but that was about it. And then over time, he started having more symptoms, sore throat, fever, and that's another thing that would indicate difficulty breathing. I think the pneumonia aspect of it is more of a complication of the virus as well. Your body tends to fight off these things right from the start. And a lot of times we may be sick, but we don't show signs and symptoms because our immune system's on high alert. I usually make this correlation analogy is there's always crime in New York City, right? There's always, and crime being infection. But you don't hear about it because guess what? Those in law enforcement are protecting us. Our immune system is protecting us. But when it gets out of hand, that's when we start feeling the symptoms. That's when we starting to see the effects of the crime. But at 24 hours a day, our immune system is on high alert. And what we typically do is we say, try to maintain your immune system. Hydrate. We don't drink enough water during the day. Get plenty of rest. This is a city that never sleeps. So we're affecting our immune system in a way where we're not allowing it to.
It's compromised.
Yeah, exactly.
In some way.
So exercise is also another thing. While we move our blood actually goes through something called the lymphatics. And the lymphatic channel is what our immune system is kind of flowing through. And as our blood circulates through our lymphatics, their antigens, the bacterials, pass by, I guess, like a sniff detector type of thing. They get recognized by our immune system, so our immune system can readily prepare itself to get its artillery. When it's ready to attack, it'll be ready. So if we don't exercise and we don't promote this healthier lifestyle that we are always trying to promote, we get sick very easily.
Right. We if we don't prepare our bodies in the best condition to fight off these infections or viruses, and I mean that's why I guess as your immune system weakens, as you age, I guess that's why with this new strain of coronavirus, the most people that are
affected
with death in this case, it's old people. The majority of them are old people or really young kids.
Yeah, it affects the elderly.
The survival rate goes down.
And what they noticed is that healthy individuals should be okay. It's more of those with chronic medical conditions that they are not taking care of themselves that well. If you're not taking care of your diabetes, that's a chronic condition.
Oh, man.
If you're not taking care of that, the diabetes can worsen into other things affecting your immune system, affecting your kidneys.
And that's exactly it, right? Because when your white blood cells or your immune system kicks in and it goes off and it sends all of the whole army to fight off whatever you have, the bacteria in your body that it was already holding off, that can take over and that can be what kills you, and not
It becomes unchecked.
It becomes unchecked. Now it's like the Wild West, and those guys are like, oh, they're looting and they're destroying your body, and then they just don't have enough power or reinforcement to fight off that bacteria now too. So then your body just goes into overdrive and that's it.
And those are the complications we're talking about. The pneumonia, it's something called ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome, and that's a complication of an overworked immune system. Okay, that to the point where our lungs, they become leaky in a sense. Our immune system starts leaking a lot of this proteinaceous fluid into our lungs and causing issues with breathing. And
is that what causes the mucus when you like that phlegm, that green brownish phlegm?
Some of it.
Fluid builds up in your lungs.
Exactly. Some of it does cause that. I mean, our immune system's always finding ways to trap. And when you had mentioned about the virus being trapped in mucus, that's our first line in a sense. Our first line actually is our skin, our first line of immune system. So, secondly, it's whatever's in the mucus area, mucous membranes being our eyes, our nose, our mouth. These are mucous membranes that have secretions, mucus, to trap in this dust, trap in this infectious agent so that we can expel it. So how do we expel it for our eyes? We cry. How do we expel it in our nose? We sneeze or we blow our nose. What about our lungs? Those are also in mucus areas, so we end up coughing it out. And our body finds a way of containing it and expelling it. So for the syndrome called ARDS that requires, when everything fails, our lungs fill up with this proteinaceous fluid, and that's just a complication. So I don't think this novel SARS causes directly ARDS right away, but over time, if left unchecked, if left untreated, if all these supportive measures are not helping, our body will tend to fail, and that's what happens. And it'll unfortunately point us towards requiring machines for life support.
Oh boy!
Like a breathing machine, a ventilator. That's what we always kind of go.